it might be worth asking yourself, since it is getting pretty serious, what is this really about? Why do I hate Putin so much? Has Putin ever called me a racist? Has he threatened to get me fired for disagreeing with him? Has he shipped every middle-class job in my town to Russia? Did he manufacture a worldwide pandemic that wrecked my business and kept me indoors for 2 years? Is he teaching my children to embrace racial discrimination? Is he making fentanyl? Is he trying to snuff out Christianity? Does he eat dogs? These are fair questions, and the answer to all of them is no. Vladimir Putin didn't do any of that.
Okay, so that is the Tucker Carlson news hour, or as I refer to it, the bad faith slack-faced news hour, where he is explaining to you why you have been trained for some reason that he'll never understand to potentially be suspicious of or have a negative opinion towards Vladimir Putin, a gay bashing, invading dictator. I don't know, Rayyvana, he did list a lot of things that I checked, and Putin has not done any of those things. So should we question our negative view of him?
Does he eat dogs? Tucker, Jesus Christ, this really is just the white nationalist power hour over there on Fox News. My God. And then immediately after saying, does he eat dogs, to say these are fair questions is just absurd. Oh, dang it. Did I freeze up a little bit? No, okay.
It looks like it's coming back. Yeah, so I think a lot of people are rightly focusing on, okay, so the way that we decide whether we like someone or not is to see how many things we can come up with that they haven't done and then ignore all the things that they have done. That's not actually how that works. But let's take seriously the insane, intellectually dishonest, bad faith things that he just said. Because presumably, since Putin hasn't done these things, these would be reasons to hate someone had he. So why should you potentially hate people? He is training his audience for why you should hate people. Has he ever called me a racist? Okay, so if someone calls you a racist, you should hate them. Has he threatened to get me fired for disagreeing with him? Has he shipped every middle-class job in my town to Russia? I assume that's, wait, is that an attack against outsourcing to places like Mexico? Is he implying that he has a problem with American industry doing that? Because it certainly isn't reflective in his politics, but it is an easy, cheap, populist point to make that's backed up by no political substance whatsoever. Did he manufacture a worldwide pandemic that wrecked my business and kept me indoors for 2 years? So there's a lot there. First of all, Tucker Carlson didn't abide by any of this, and not a single person viewing his stuff stayed indoors for more than a day and a half. The idea that we've been in lockdown for 2 years is insane. It is, however, eclipsed in insanity by the claim that this pandemic has been manufactured. Now, most people will gloss over this because it's in such a crazy stream of consciousness, but he's claiming there that it's been manufactured, right?
Yeah, and that one, there's a couple of his talking points there that are just, anti-China talking points. I mean, that's clearly supposed to be an anti-China talking point, implying that China manufactured the pandemic. The fentanyl point is, supposed to be of the so much of the opioid crisis is being caused by these, designer drugs or these knockoffs of those drugs coming out of China, and not, the actual fault of the pharmaceutical companies here in America. And then, of course, the "does he eat dogs" thing was just a nasty racist. It's just so gross.
Yeah, it's obviously gross. So you should not hate Vladimir Putin. You should hate, what does he say? He's saying Chinese people. That's what he's saying. Let's keep it real. He's saying you should hate the Chinese. You should hate teachers embracing racial discrimination. You should hate teachers because I'm pretending they teach CRT even they don't. You should hate a second grade teacher more than you hate a murderous dictator. By the way, you're not under any obligation to hate anybody. I know a lot of lefties generally don't center hate in their worldview. I've found room, I will say that. And what it is a reflection of their opposition to the values I hold dear. So this, as I said earlier, is not how you evaluate if you hate someone, just coming up with a bunch of things that they didn't do. As many have pointed out on Twitter, Pol Pot never slept with my wife. I can still hate him. That's not how this works. But I will throw out a few additional things because you'll notice Tucker stopped there. So what if he'd killed his political enemies? Could you hate him then? What if he'd invaded other countries? What if he'd attacked the LGBTQ community in his own community? What if he'd done that? Would that be a reason? What if he'd stolen countless billions, maybe tens of billions, possibly hundreds of billions of dollars of his own country's and people's wealth and hoarded it for himself and doled it out to a small circle of oligarchs? Could I hate him then? What if he inspired and tried to put into place right-wing leaders in other countries, crushing their young, youthful democracies? What if he'd locked up the political opposition in his own country? What if he'd tried to assassinate them both domestically and internationally? Like, at what point are some of these maybe reasons that you would not like someone? And by the way, none of this means, thus, let's go to war with them. Again, that's the trick that they try to play. But if I can hate George W. Bush for what he's done, if I can hate American political leaders when they run so afoul of my political values, consistency sort of demands that I apply similar standards to international political leaders. I don't know, maybe that's just me. What do you think?
I'm actually kind of grateful for him doing this segment because it's caused me to reconsider my opinions on people such as Ted Bundy and John Wayne Gacy. I mean, they never killed anyone I knew. So clearly, and I don't think that, they've ever made fentanyl.
True.
I should be more open-minded when it comes to my evaluation of serial killers because there's lots of things they haven't done.
That's true. Jeffrey Dahmer, as far as I know, has never eaten a dog. And that's the end of my thought process there. Thank you, Tucker. People watch this and they take it seriously. Absolutely insane.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.